Now, while Biden expresses support for a ceasefire, the US president at the same time reiterated his firm support for Israel's right to what he describes as defending itself. Since the fighting erupted, Biden and his administration's top officials have publicly expressed undisputed support to the Tel Aviv regime. All this time, while insisting that they were working through diplomatic and military channels to try to de-escalate the violence. But will this materialize? Nightline speaks to Malaysia's former permanent representative to the United Nations, Sri Razali Ismail, who shared his thoughts on the ongoing tension in West Asia. Israel has maintained military rule over some portion of the Palestinian population for all but 6 months of its 73-year history. It did so over the vast majority of Palestinians inside Israel from 1948 until 1966. From 1967 until the present, it has militarily ruled over Palestinians excluding East Jerusalem. The recent escalation of Israeli aggression on the indigenous people of Palestine showed that there is a need to stand up against Israel's embedded discriminatory rule over Palestinians. The United Nations UN has called for an immediate end to the bloodshed. It sounded alarm bells over the imminent potential for the violence to spill into the wider region. Israel's continued ethnic cleansing, with the recent since May 10th, has killed more than 212 people, and that includes 61 children. To Malaysia's former permanent representative to the United Nations, Sri Razali Ismail, every effort must be taken to ensure the protection of innocent civilians. Washington spoke up more than a week later, even then after facing increasing pressure. Some felt that Biden just felt that he had to say something. But then again, is the new president prepared to pay the price of bringing relief amid the colonial state terrorism?
I think the ceasefire is the only solution that is possible now. And if you let Netanyahu go crazy like a bull elephant in rampage, he will do what he wants to do because he's got the total support of the United States. $4 billion or so goes to the arsenal of the Israeli military every year. And all that special cover, defense, iron wall or whatever, they all come from where? The technology is American. So there must be a ceasefire for the sake of the people on the ground who are dying, whose houses are being bombed. There must be a ceasefire. This is not the time for the Palestinians to go to war. They don't have the advantages.
Washington's statement appeared to be the beginning of a more decisive process behind the scenes, but the world will have to wait and see.
You will not be able to get the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, to change his course until you hurt him really hard. And that can only happen if you get the United States to also be seen to be partial towards the cause of Jerusalem, of Palestine. And that I am very surprised, very disappointed that Biden has indicated he's not going to do it. He is the same as all the other Americans that support Israel. Yes, Israel. And that will be so. I mean, even Kamala Harris, coming from the subcontinent of India, at the end of the day, comes out in total support of Israel. They know that Palestinians are hurting, are being killed, and you cannot kill people with impunity as Israel is doing. But they will continue to support Israel.
There are no words to describe the horrors the Palestinian people are enduring on their own land. The world cannot allow the situation to slide further into chaos.
I think we must effectively deploy our tactics in such a way that we can make a difference. We means we in ASEAN, we the Muslim countries, OIC, how we operate in the UN and all that, and how much influence have we got in the Security Council, then we can make a difference. And even that, given how long the subject has been, the issue has been on the international agenda, I doubt that this will make a difference. Our anger, our condemnation will make that difference. But don't get me wrong, these exhortations, this condemnation is necessary. We cannot be seen to be otherwise. And in the first place, we have a constituency in Malaysia, in Jakarta, in Indonesia, elsewhere, that if we don't say this, we don't get this angry, people will be very, very surprised and very disappointed and get very angry at us. And there are reasons to be angry with.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!